Former Congressman Matt Gaetz says that there's alien-human hybrids potentially in our own government. Crumble came out with a everything bagel cookie, which sounds disgusting. It sounds like it's an April Fool's joke. I wish that it was, but it's not. And also, war in Iran updates. I also reviewed KFC. You can see it back there. I'm also here with Mackenzie, the beautiful, the gorgeous Mackenzie girl. I'm your host, Nick Metcalf. This is the American Power Hour. Today is Wednesday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day, folks. We are streaming live on Twitch. If you ever want to join the conversation, head over to Nick Metcalf on Twitch. If you want to watch the full lives posted after the fact, American Power Hour, YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. We have all three going here. Let's hop into this. I'll tell you guys about this real quick. Crumble has a couple new things. They have this dirt cake cup with katafi on top of there. That was pretty good. This right here, you could see it there in the bottom. Can you see it? The everything bagel cookie. Oh. Almost just lost the carrot cake, but we didn't. Shout out to hand-eye coordination. Yeah, that was a devious, disgusting little cookie. I'll be dropping that review today. Let's move into some of the news. Some of the news here, man. Matt Gaetz, the former U.S. Congressman, he says, well, you know what? We're just going to let him say it for himself. This was on the Benny Johansson show. Is that, do I have that right here? Let me see. I think it's Benny Johnson, potentially. Benny Johnson. Let's go to the clip. Here, a little screen share. All right. Oh, okay. Let's see if...
I think the most important information will be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating? What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
Yeah, I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, and what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were...
I'll just say this. The whistleblower sounded like they were on crack.
Like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations.
Is that a joke? It's impossible to get 8 members of Congress to show up at 8 different locations at one time. I can't tell if that's a joke. Because if it is a joke, then it's like, okay, well, why couldn't you make that happen? If it's not a joke, why wouldn't you be taking this a little bit more seriously?
At one time, and so that never occurred.
What do you mean?
It just never occurred. We just didn't follow up on it at all, he says. So it sounds like he and his team treated this whistleblower like they were just a crackhead.
non-human biologics? Like,
Well, that was the testimony of David Grush before the House Oversight Committee,
Yeah.
which I joined, and the testimony was that in crashes of craft that had been recovered by the CIA and through a special program that the CIA had for crash recovery, that it wasn't just the hard materials, it was also biologics, but that they couldn't identify a human source of those biologics.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. What do we think about that, folks? What do we think about that? What's up, Christy? How you doing today? Happy Wednesday. What's up, Dave? How you doing? How are you? Mike is muted? No way. Is it actually? April Fool. Oh, you got me. You got me, Christy. Speaking of April Fools, I wish that the Everything Bagel cookie was an April Fool's joke. It wasn't. It was not a joke. Well, it was a joke, but it's real. It's real, but it's a joke. So yeah, that was Matt Gaetz talking about how there's alien-human hybrids. Apparently, they're taking the crashed UFOs and the aliens that they find inside of the UFO crashes, and they're mating those aliens with the illegal aliens that are coming over the border in caravans. That sounds insane to me. Matt Gaetz doesn't have the most believable face. I will say that. Yeah, there's a bunch of articles here on The Independent. I'll show you guys right here. Independent, Yahoo. Trump claims.
Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
Aliens are real. Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, if the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so if you want to make an announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know illegal aliens are real.
Which is closest to...
It's the Benny Show. Yeah, Benny Johnson, I believe. That's where the first video clip was from. Jeez, dude. Alien-human hybrids. What if the Simpsons were right all along and there's actual alien-human hybrids that are within our own government? That would be quite interesting. What if they take our jobs, said Christie. Yeah. So obviously Trump kind of gave it away there. He said Obama was declassifying classified information when he said that aliens were real. So that sounds like aliens are real by saying that he declassified that information. It also seemed like Trump was trying to make it seem as if Obama was doing something illegal at the same time. Dude, I kind of thought about it. There was a story here on on Twitter. I believe it was on Twitter. Someone found alien DNA in humans. It was a story from October, and I don't know why it was popping up on the timeline, and people were just tweeting about it. I can't find it right now, but it was trending earlier. Maybe it stopped trending because people realized it was an old story. Book of Enoch. Yeah, they were talking about some sort of Anunnaki. The Anunnaki race of aliens like came down to Earth or something. There's some like wild theory that's out there. Oh, okay. All right. That's just what they say, though. That's just what they say. Moving on here to the war in Iran. What's been going on with Iran? Donald Trump will be delivering a press conference today at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll show you guys the schedule here. This is the Survivor. It's going to interrupt Survivor. CBS will air a special report from the White House. Survivor. Oh, okay. Survivor goes from, it's supposed to go from 8 to 10 Survivor, but it's going to go from 8 to 9. And then they say from 9 to 9:20 will be Trump's address to the nation. And then at 10:20, Survivor continues. So do not, well, I was going to say don't worry about missing Survivor, but honestly, they say Trump's going to go for 20 minutes. It could end up being 2 hours. So it'll be interesting to see if the Survivor fans out there will be able to watch the full show tonight. This is what Trump is saying now. Let's see what Trump is saying. And to be honest, it's like the same exact rhetoric that's been going on for the past month. It's like, we'll destroy them. We've destroyed them. They don't exist anymore. We don't want to be fighting, the ceasefire, but we're also bombing them type of energy. Can you guys see this? Okay. All right, let's do this.
It's like, oh, they're putting up a good fight. They're not putting up a fight. They're not even shooting at us, okay? We have planes are just ruling the sky. We have airplanes. Those two. We have airplanes. Nice, right? Lincoln with a little modern.
We have airplanes. He's 18 seconds in. He's like, we have airplanes. I need to restart this, dude. Did he actually say anything?
It's like, oh, they're putting up a good fight. They're not putting up a fight. They're not even shooting at us, okay? We have planes are just ruling the sky. We have airplanes. Those two. We have airplanes. Nice, right? Lincoln with a little modern touch. The great Benjamin Franklin with a little modern touch. But think of it. They are roaming the skies over Tehran. They're not even being shot at because their equipment's been totally decimated. They have nothing to shoot. They have no Navy, they have no anything. And just think about this. They have no Navy. They have no military. They have no nothing. They're losing. They admit they're losing. They're begging to make a deal. And if you read the fake New York Times, a corrupt newspaper, where I'm suing them and I think I should do very well, but you would almost think, who's winning? It's so fraudulent. But just to finish up with the New York Times, if you read the New York Times prior to my election victory, including the first one, and the second one too, I won 3 times. Convincingly. But let's go to the third victory. If you read the New York Times, you would say, oh, Trump's going to lose.
Okay. Just seemed like he was kind of rambling there. Like I said, that was the first time I saw that video, and I assumed that he was just going to say the same exact thing, which he's been saying this whole time, which is exactly what he said, which is we've destroyed them. They don't exist. They can't shoot at us because we've destroyed their facilities, he says. I don't know what that means, dude. You've eliminated every single gun in Iran, because that's what it would mean if it means they're not shooting at us. So what do we think he's going to say tonight at 9 o'clock? I have a prediction. Here. In my opinion, I think at 9 o'clock tonight, when Donald Trump addresses the nation about the war in Iran, I think he'll probably say the same exact thing that he's been saying for a month. We've destroyed them. They no longer exist. And we're trying to reach a deal. That's what the press conference is going to be tonight. And I make this prediction because, oh, what's up, JM? How are you today? Everyone will be left with nothing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I make this prediction that he's going to basically say the same exact shit because what are the other options? The other options is he says we're going boots on the ground. Imagine if he went on at 9 o'clock tonight for the press conference and he announces that we're boots on the ground in Iran. That would throw everything into a tizzy. I don't know what a tizzy is, but it doesn't sound like something I would want to get caught up in. And I don't think Donald Trump is attempting to get caught up in that news cycle of boots on the ground either. I think he's probably going to say something like, they no longer exist. We've decimated them. What's up, Michael Hartson? How you doing today? Happy Wednesday. So yeah, that's kind of where I see this heading is... we've destroyed Iran. There's nothing left to do. NATO has betrayed us. Iran is no longer a threat. Our military is the best. I mean, there's the potential that he just comes straight out and says, like, we're ending the war, which would probably have some sort of effect. They're probably trying to get a ceasefire deal done, a quote-unquote ceasefire deal. I believe Iran has already said no to that. They already said no, we don't want a ceasefire. What we want is, like, protections and promises that you're going to stop bombing us. Because we've done the ceasefire rigmarole, whatever that word is, rigmarole. Dude, I can never say that one. I should probably just axe it from my vocab. But yeah, Iran is basically like, dude, like we've done the ceasefire thing before, and like y'all just keep like bombing us. So we'll do ceasefire, but we're gonna need protections and we're gonna need promises. What is this? UK deploys troops and air defense to protect Gulf allies from Iran threats. That was yesterday, apparently. Yeah, so the UK is deploying troops. Russia is supplying drones to Iran. How many countries have to get involved before it's a world war? Trump reveals that he will, quote-unquote, torch NATO in his address to the nation tonight. It'll probably be something like, despite NATO, despite NATO being horrible or something, we have the strongest military, we have the strongest Air Force. All major broadcast TV networks will be interrupting their programming to air Trump's address tonight. So it won't just be during the Survivor airing there. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Tehran are the only ones who will decide the future of the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't seem like the U.S. has control of the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know why they would. I don't know if that's like a goal of the U.S. and Donald Trump. This is from Bricks News, an independent media company. Says Iranian Foreign Ministry says President Trump's claims that Iran requested a ceasefire are false and baseless. Yeah, like I said, they didn't request a ceasefire. I think what they're requesting is a complete end to all of it. Donald Trump says he is strongly considering pulling the U.S. out of NATO. What do we think about that? What are your thoughts on that? Put it in the comments. Put it in the chat. Yeah, so this is another news outlet reporting that Iran's foreign ministry, this is multiple outlets now, claiming that President Trump's claims that Iran requested a ceasefire are false and baseless. Oh, what a shit show. Let's see what Marco Rubio is saying on the Strait of Hormuz. Can you guys see this? Let me make sure you guys can see this. All right. Here we go. Marco Rubio. Little Marco.
Let me ask you about NATO. You said that our NATO allies have been disappointing. Specifically, I know you're talking about Spain, Great Britain, France, even Italy now, and that after all of this is done, we will re-examine this relationship, and especially when it comes to, we pay 2/3 of the freight when it comes to NATO defense, and if it's just, quote, about us defending Europe, you said, at this point, how do we call that? And we can't have our landing rights in European nations, our allies, at a time when we need them. What good is that alliance? And is the NATO alliance at risk?
Sean, I've been one of the strongest defenders of NATO during my time as a United States Senator because I found great value in it. And it wasn't just about defending Europe. I said it also allowed us to have military bases in Europe that allowed us to project power into different parts of the world when our national security was threatened. If now we have reached a point where the NATO alliance means that we can't use those bases, that in fact, that we can no longer use those bases to defend America's interests, then NATO is a one-way street. Then NATO is simply about us having troops in Europe to defend Europe. But when we need their help, not their help, we're not asking them to conduct airstrikes. When we need them to allow us to use their military bases, their answer is no. Then why are we in NATO? You have to ask that question. Why do we have billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, over the years, trillions of dollars, and all these American forces stationed in the region, if we can only use, in our time of need, we're not going to be allowed to use those bases.
Hey, France, is it cool if we set up base so we can bomb the shit out of Iran? Y'all cool with that? Y'all Gucci with that or what? No? Okay, then we're going to pull out of NATO.
So
that's what it sounds like they're saying, right?
I think there's no doubt, unfortunately, after this conflict is concluded, we are going to have to re-examine that relationship. We're going to have to re-examine the value of NATO and that alliance for our country. Ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make, and he'll have to make it. We're going to finish the job here. As I said, we're very, very close to achieving our objectives on.
We've been very, very close. He says we are very, very close to achieving our objectives. Apparently, we've been very, very close, like since the beginning. We're gonna be 2 years into this war. I hope not, but we're gonna be 2 years into it, and they're gonna be like, we're very, very close to obtaining our objectives
on all of these things that I've outlined. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe, but when we need the help of our allies, they're going to deny us basing rights and they're going to deny us overflight? I think these are very legitimate questions that we need to be asking, and this are going to have to be very carefully examined after this conflict is over.
Yeah, I feel like if one of these other countries didn't want to bomb the shit out of Iran, they would probably say no to that. They'd probably be like, "Hey, no, it's not cool actually if you bomb the shit out of Iran from our country." Cuz it might, like, I don't know, lead to something worse for our country? I don't know. I guess that's an interesting one. What do we think about that? Christy said they can't shoot at us, but Iran isn't known for shooting missiles or stuff like that. They're known for terrorism and infiltration. Yes, and boy, isn't there a pretty major coming up for both the U.S. and Israel. Major holiday. Yes, Easter is coming up. Rigmarole. Thank you, Neil Baum. Rigmarole. Where does that even come from? Michael says, my view is if it helps the everyday person in America to leave NATO, then okay. But if not, then why alienate ourselves? Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And a big question I have is like, when are the objectives met? Is it when gas is $5 a gallon? Like once we get to $5 a gallon for gas, like then our objectives are met? Or is it when the Strait of Hormuz, or is it when U.S. has full control over the Strait of Hormuz? Is that when our objectives are met? What the hell are our objectives? I've been covering this for a month now. We are a month into this war, and we still don't know what our objectives are, other than they have WMDs. They have WMDs, and their religion says to kill all Americans, so we have to liberate them by killing them. Those are our objectives, it seems to be. What is this here? 45-second long. Oh, this is one of the guys talking about how they don't want a ceasefire. They just want the shit to end. Let's go ahead and pull up this video here.
We have yet to make a decision. We have many considerations regarding this matter. Our conditions for ending the war are clear. We do not accept a ceasefire. We are seeking an end to the war, not only in Iran but across the entire region. We seek guarantees that such aggressions will not be repeated, as well as the payment of compensation for the extent of the damages inflicted on us and on the people of Iran.
That's very important, what he just said. And this is a major part of the story, is that they want reparations. They want to be paid back for like we bombed the shit out of one of their a school, like an elementary school, and they probably want money to rebuild the school or something, and potentially the lives of the 125 little girls that were bombed. So I don't know if Donald Trump is going to be able to do that. Ego-wise. I don't know if the U.S. government as a whole is going to be yeah, that sounds great. Let's give them millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, and also just leave them alone. I feel like that is a very small percent chance happening.
At present, there is no ground for negotiation.
There is no ground for negotiation.
And at present, there is no negotiation.
There is no negotiation currently going on. This is from Iran. Meanwhile, in America, the American propaganda is saying that apparently we've been having great talks with them.
Our position is clear, and at present there is no ground for negotiation.
So they're basically, Iran's basically saying we don't negotiate with terrorists. That's what Iran's saying when they say there is no negotiating. You will give us reparations for the shit that you've destroyed in our country. You will also not bomb us anymore. Those are the two things. And Trump is claiming that they called Donald Trump and were begging for a ceasefire because the U.S. military is the greatest in the world. It doesn't seem like that. I try my best to get like both sides of all the information that's out there, and then try to come to a general consensus of what's actually going on. You know, if you only take information from the American propaganda machine, you have the American propaganda machine and you have the Iranian propaganda machine. So the answer is usually somewhere in the middle. It doesn't seem like the U.S. government is portraying exactly what's going on. All right, let me switch this back. Neil Baum said, everything Trump says manipulates the markets, and his family and friends probably get that information early, and that is probably one of his objectives. Oh, for sure. Yeah, making money in the markets is 100% part of the objectives. Christie said, Trump said his number one point was for them to not make any more nuclear sites. I feel like the U.S. should be able to agree they won't cause further harm. If Iran agreed, they won't just go back to building nukes. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like if I put myself in Iran's shoes, I would want some defense for my country. If it were me running that country, I'd be like, dude, you have nukes. What do you mean I'm not allowed to have nukes? That's kind of mean. Why do you get nukes, you know? Like you just bombed a children's school in our country, and you're saying that you're worried about us doing damage to you? Is that, you know? So that's kind of like the flip side of everything is it's the WMDs argument, you know? It's like, oh, they have WMDs and they want to kill Americans, therefore we have to go kill them all. So it's like the same, you could use the same argument of like, well, they're building nukes and they want to kill all Americans, so we have to kill all of them. You know, it's like, oh man, we don't know who's actually telling the truth. That's like the shadiest part about all of it, you know? So yeah, I mean, what countries currently have nukes? Let me look that up. 9 countries currently have nuclear weapons. Russia has nukes. Why does Russia get to have nukes? United States, China, France, the UK, Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea. North Korea has nukes. That's interesting. A lot of these countries have like hundreds, if not thousands. Russia has the most. Russia has the most nuclear warheads. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. China's working hard at their nukes. Pakistan has hundreds. India, dude, they even got them over there in India. Israel maintains a policy of ambiguity. Wow. But is widely believed to possess nuclear weapons. And good old North Korea. Are they our friends? Is North Korea our friends? Are they good people over there in North Korea? The leaders of North Korea? I thought that was like Kim Jong-un. Is that guy? South Africa is the only nation to have developed and then completely dismantled its nuclear weapons. What the hell? Why? Why did they dismantle them? They were like, no, this is too dangerous. We got to get rid of these. That's probably what happened. I'm trying to figure out why. There's tactical nukes. This is a giant. It's not giving me a reason why they got rid of their. Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Turkey all host U.S. nuclear weapons. The U.S. insists that it maintains operational control of these weapons, but their stationing in these countries help U.S. nuclear war planning. In 2023, the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, announced that Belarus is now hosting Russian tactical nuclear weapons. So it seems like all the big players have nuclear weapons. So if, like I said, if I was Iran, I'd be like, dude, Russia has nukes. North Korea has nukes. Why can't I get a little nuke? I just want a little nuke. Just a little itty bitty little nuke. Neil Baum said North Korea are not our friends. That begs the question, why are they allowed to have a nuke? Christie said, let's take the nukes from Putin to the Holy Land as nukes, says Ask Jeeves. Yep. If I was in charge of the nukes, said Christie, get these dangerous things out of here. Yeah, imagine like that was your job, was to build the... That'd be a dangerous job, I feel like. I don't know if I could do that job. It'd be like in that in the Simpsons in the start of the Simpsons, where was it Homer who was like carrying the nuclear dude? That's kind of weird. Simpsons was like all about the nuclear thing. And he drops like the nuclear little like tube or whatever, and it goes in like the baby's bag or something. Michael Hartson said, this reminds me of Team America, World Police, movie by South Park guys. Dude, I never saw that one. I wanted to watch it when it first came out. I think I was just too young or something. And I just never went back and watched it, but I'm going to have to. I heard it was funny. I heard it was a funny one. The Simpsons predicted a lot of stuff, said Ask Jeeve. Yeah, The Simpsons. I talked about it earlier in the show. The Matt Gaetz thing. Matt Gaetz, the former congressman, came out and was talking about how he was briefed on the alien-human hybrids, potentially within our own government. So that's another like Simpsons thing. You know, the presidents of the U.S. or the president of the U.S. in The Simpsons was like an alien. He like takes his like skin off, and it was like the two aliens. I forgot what their names were, but. Yeah, it seems like Simpsons is like very ahead of its time. Didn't it predict like a Donald Trump presidency too? Neil Baum said countries are not necessarily allowed to have nukes. If they develop and have nukes, one can't just tell them to stop it and destroy their nukes. So did we... I wonder when. When did some of these countries get nukes? Because I feel like if we knew that North Korea was developing nuclear weapons, wouldn't that be like more dangerous than if Iran had nuclear weapons? Trying to see here. Can the U.S. stop a nuke from hitting the U.S.? The answer is probably not. Most experts agree it would be almost impossible to develop a system that would be 100% guaranteed to destroy all incoming ballistic missiles, which when it comes to nuclear weapons and their destructive power is what you would need. Russia and the U.S. possess nearly 90% of the world's total nuclear weapons. Yeah, so we got Russia involved in this. Like I said, at what point, I have to Google this. I think I could do it by voice. At what point? Oh, it's working. Oh, cool. Nice. Okay. Sweet. Man. 90%. Okay, let me Google this real quick. At what point is a war considered a world war? Especially, okay. War is considered a world war when it becomes a global conflict involving most of the world's major powers, spanning multiple continents and oceans, and featuring direct, large-scale combat. It is characterized by the total mobilization of resources and major power participation, rather than just many countries. The defining factor is the participation of the era's strongest military and economic powers: USA, Russia, China, UK, France. So at this point now we have what? We have USA involved, we have Israel involved, we have Russia involved, we have the UK involved now. So is four enough to the global scope? The conflict is not restricted to one region, but spans multiple continents and oceans. Okay, so yeah, it would have to be a little bit bigger in other areas, apparently. Alliances. Countries align themselves into opposing coalitions, resulting in widespread combat. That kind of seems like what's happening now. I mean, Russia's picking sides. They're sending the drones to help Iran. The UK is as well. Let me see exactly what the UK is doing. Oh, here you go. Exposed how UK is heavily involved in the Iran war. Hey, let's see what this guy says. Let me make sure you guys can see this. All right.
Missiles can attack London, Israel is claiming. The British government has insisted it has no assessment of Iranian plans to strike London. On Thursday, though, the Defense Secretary refused to say if Iran has missiles that are actually capable of hitting Britain. According to the Prime Minister, Britain's not joining the war. But Sir Keir Starmer's insisted this numerous times. He said, "It's not our war, and it's unpopular with the public."
While taking the necessary action to defend ourselves and our allies, we will not be drawn into the wider war.
But in reality, Britain is being dragged deeper and deeper into the Iran conflict. Here's how. When the US-Israeli attack began, Britain refused to allow the Americans to use the joint UK-US base on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean to launch strikes on Iran.
So I believe that what he's describing right now is what Marco Rubio was describing in that Fox News clip we watched earlier when he was talking about why we might be leaving NATO, because our allies within NATO are not allowing us to bomb Iran from their bases. So that's exactly what he's describing right here. So it lines up. Math adds up.
Government sources told us the Starmer government believed the attack had no lawful basis and joining would be against the national interest.
By the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
But within 2 days, Britain changed its position. Starmer announced the US could use British military bases for bombers en route to targeting Iranian missile sites. The Prime Minister said this was purely defensive, but critics argued that Britain was actually enabling a war it considered unlawful. In the past few weeks, American bombers have been landing in Gloucestershire at the RAF Fairford base. These bombers take off from England, fly to the Middle East, carry out their bombing missions over Iraq.
Okay, so if this is true, what the hell is Ricky Rubio talking about? Little Marco, not Ricky Rubio. That's a basketball player. Good old Ricky, dude.
Iran and returned to Gloucestershire. Starmer's now in a difficult position. He railed against the idea of becoming more involved in the conflict. For 2 weeks, he attacked Reform leader Nigel Farage and Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch for having backed Britain joining the war. But late last week, the government did a U-turn. Starmer said Britain would allow the US to use
This story just gets crazier and crazier. U-turn this from U-turn to that?
British bases to launch strikes on Iranian sites to help protect ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Again, he said this was a defensive measure.
Actually intercepting strikes to stop them hitting people and buildings, so that's defensive action.
Iran disagrees. The Iranian Foreign Minister Sayed Abbas Araghchi spoke to the British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper over the phone. He accused the Brits of participating in aggression. In response, Cooper warned Iran against targeting UK bases, territory or interests directly. Now, Britain is feeling more vulnerable than ever. The government didn't announce that last Friday 2 ballistic missiles targeted its base on Diego Garcia. This was revealed in the American press the next day. A US warship reportedly intercepted one missile and the other failed in flight. But which warship did this? How close to the base did the missile get? The government hasn't disclosed this. Israel accused Iran of firing the missiles. Britain then said it was the Iranians too. But Iran denied any involvement and called it a false flag attack, and NATO said it couldn't confirm Israel's claim.
He mentioned false flag. That's a major thing that people have been talking about with Israel, right? There was I forgot the name of the ship, but a long time ago there was a false flag that was carried out by Israel to make U.S. government think it was from somewhere else, so we would go attack that somewhere else, when in reality it was Israel. So I think that's what he's kind of talking about here with that strait he mentioned. Oh, the base, the Diego Garcia base. There's questions as to where those missiles came from. Some people think it was Israel doing a false flag. Could have been Iran, though, as well.
But Iran denied any involvement and called it a false flag attack, and NATO said it couldn't confirm Israel's claim. Earlier in the war, a British base in Cyprus was hit by a drone attack, but the government said the strike was believed to have originated from Lebanon, not Iran. The war's being treated as a national crisis. Britain is facing the biggest hit to growth from the war out of all major economies, it's been estimated. And while the economic consequences are set to be enormous, British bases are being used for bombing Iranian sites. It seems increasingly difficult for Starmer to extricate Britain from what's fast becoming a truly global conflict.
Yeah, so it seems like the UK is definitely involved with this. So we got the UK, we got Israel, we got Iran, we got USA, we got Russia. Man, it seems like it's basically a world war at this point. Let's see exactly what Russia's doing. Russia is acting as a backstage partner in the 2026 Iran war, providing intelligence on U.S. military positions and drone technology to Tehran while avoiding direct combat. This support enables Iranian strikes against American assets, while Moscow benefits from rising oil prices, diverted U.S. focus from Ukraine. So Russia is kind of putting the pressure on the USA for this war because it draws the attention away from Ukraine. Oil prices in the U.S. go up. Everything in the U.S. goes up price-wise. We stop sending so much defense to Ukraine. Russia can continue their war with Ukraine and probably more efficiently win their war. So it makes sense for Russia. U.S. officials report Russia is sharing real-time intelligence with Iran regarding the locations of American troops, warships, and aircrafts in the Middle East. Russia has sent upgraded drones and, in some cases, provided technical assistance to help Iranian jamming. Circumvent jamming. Okay. Strategic distancing. Moscow has maintained a limited posture in Syria, avoiding direct confrontation with Israel or the U.S. to prevent overextending resources needed for the Ukraine conflict. See, so they have a dual approach, condemning the U.S.-Israeli actions as aggression while publicly offering to act as a neutral mediator to secure a ceasefire. Sure. Send more drones to Iran. Yeah, but we're just here to mediate. Sure you are, Russia. Oh, man. Russia is helping Iran target. Yeah. Yeah, definitely seems to be like a multi-country, multi-region type of war. I mean, if Russia's rolling this into their war in Ukraine, that almost ties us more into that war as well. Oh, man. Some interesting updates. Let's see here. Christie said, I also feel the USA taking the lead on you can't have nukes when we're the only country to use nuclear weapons on another country is quite ironic. Yes. Neil Baum said North Korea the past decade or so and currently... Oh, yes, for having nukes. Okay, past decade or so and currently. That answered my question. Thank you, Neil Baum. Ask Chief said Russia was sending weapons to Syria when Assad was in power, so it's not surprising that they are involved again this time. Jeez. At what point is it a world war? I guess, hey, we might have some more information tonight. You know, tonight at 9 o'clock, there's the press conference. And like I said, I'm going to assume that it'll be a big nothing burger. But at the same time, I hope it's, hey, we're no longer in Iran. We've left Iran, and we've reached a deal. That would be great. That would be phenomenal. And I hope it's not a flub. I hope it's not we have a ceasefire in place, quote unquote. And in reality, like 3 days later, we bombed the shit out of them. We had a deal in place, but they didn't want to come to terms, so we had to kill all of them. We have the greatest... You know the rhetoric, dude. All right, let's take one last look here. See if there's anything crazy going on Twitter real quick. Oh, this is what I was talking about earlier in the day. Alien DNA found inside humans. It was inserted in our genes. Mind-blowing study published in October. Like I said, this has been viral in the past 24 hours here on Twitter, and it's a story from October. And it wasn't peer reviewed. It was just like the guy. From my understanding, the guy basically found changes in families' DNA and said that it was aliens. But I do believe that there are things in our world that can alter DNA, especially over time like that through generations. But people are I think maybe because the whole Matt Gaetz alien-human hybrid claim is going viral, maybe this is why this is popping back up again. Because it matches the same sort of hybrid DNA, alien... Something better. We better get aliens soon, dude. I'm starting to get tired of this. It's like, oh, there's aliens. Nope. There's not aliens. Oh, Barack Obama says that there's aliens. It's like, oh, Oh, maybe we'll... What's it on Polymarket right now? What is the... I think I could just do it from here. Polymarket chances of alien existence. And it just pops right up. Look at that. Kalshi. 18.8% chance currently before the end of the year. That's what the betting... You can literally bet on this, dude. I don't recommend anyone to do betting, but it's kind of insane that society has gotten to this point now to where we can literally bet our life savings on if aliens will be confirmed to exist before the end of the year. That's kind of wild. I'm so glad that I realized I can just like voice search things on Google so I don't have to get up off my lazy ass. That's a plus. That's a win, I would say, for the day. All right, let me see here. Christy said 100 years from now, they'll be saying, can you actually believe people didn't used to believe in aliens? Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. All right, guys, we are rounding out the hour here on the American Power Hour. If you ever miss any parts of the live, you can always go to the American Power Hour YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. If you're watching on those platforms and you want to join the conversation, be a part of the videos, watch it live. Join the chat on Twitch Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1:30. I think I was a couple minutes early today. It happens sometimes. Sometimes, dude, once in a blue moon, I am early. Usually I'm a couple minutes late, but all right, guys. Thank you so much for being here today on this Wednesday. I will be live Friday, Big Day Friday. I'm doing wedding pictures, taking wedding pictures on Friday. That'll be fun. We got like a professional photographer, not wedding pictures. Sorry, the pictures for the RSVPs. So that'll be fun. That'll be a good time. But I will be live earlier in the day. So I'll see y'all on Friday. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Mackenzie, you want to say goodbye? Goodbye. She is knocked out. Michael Hartson, have a great rest of your day, man. Shout out to Christy. Shout out to Ask Jeeve. Shout out to Neil Bomb 10. Shout out to JM2711. And shout out to Dave. I appreciate y'all for being here. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you on Friday. Peace out.